Do you have PCOS, and not only do you want to get pregnant, but do you also want to feel healthy? If that's you, then welcome to the PCOS Fertility Health Podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Potter, an integrative PCOS fertility specialist, and I'm here to share with you the tools that you need to help your body get prepped for baby. Let's go. You might be wondering how my approach is different than all these other doctors that you've been to. You've been hearing me talk about stories about women who are seeing regular cycles, positive ovulation, they're getting pregnant naturally, and you might be wondering, well, what exactly is different? If I were to work with this doctor, why is it going to be any different than any other of these doctors that I've worked with? Because you've been trying to get pregnant for years now, am I right? So yes, of course, you've seen specialists and doctors, and you've tried supplements, and you feel like you've tried everything. So how is it that my approach would be different? And we're going to dive into one aspect of that today. But before we get into it, I wanted to share some words of someone who shared their experience of working with me. And she writes, I loved my experience. I was able to see a big change in my cycle. I haven't been in my 30 to 34 day cycles for 8 years. I took a month or two off of what my plan was and went right back to 63 days. She knows what she is doing and was a great supporter in the process. Highly recommend her. Thank you so much for sharing those words. And that is what is so cool about my job and working with women like this person who shared those words, is that I see these stories over and over again. It's really cool. And what I know about you is that you are on a mission to help your body feel healthy. Not only do you want to get pregnant, but you just want to feel healthy for yourself and for your husband and for the rest of your life. And so you are in the right place today because you're going to understand how my approach is just that. It's to help you feel healthy. It's to help you get your body prepped for baby. My approach is completely different from any other of your other doctors. Completely different from your primary care doctor, your fertility specialist, your endocrinologist. I have a radically different approach. And I'm going to outline one aspect of that today. And the one difference that I'm going to outline for you today is looking at fertility labs. Because I take that approach completely different from all these other doctors, which might surprise you because you could think, well, I've had labs before, right? I've been through that. I go get my blood drawn all the time, and I've been told that my labs are fine. So what else could it be that you're going to tell me that's going to be any different? Yeah, I get that. That's a really frustrating place to be in when you've been on this journey for so many years. You've had so many lab pricks and you're being told that everything's fine. But guess what? You're still having irregular cycles and you haven't been able to get pregnant yet. Everything is not fine on your labs. So that is the number one first way that I'm different from these other doctors that you've seen. I'm going to tell you right out, no, your labs are not fine. No, there are clear things popping up on your labs that are showing me why you're having irregular cycles and why you're not ovulating. And no other doctor has told you that so far. And I am not going to tell you that your labs are fine because they aren't. And the reason that your other doctors have told you that your labs are fine when they're not is either they haven't ordered enough labs to look at your picture, or they're not interpreting your labs from a fertility perspective. And so that's where I come in, and that's how things are different. So first, let's talk about this concept of the right labs haven't been ordered yet for you and how I can order the right labs. So many doctors, when they're looking at fertility numbers, they're looking at some very basic things. They're looking at your reproductive hormones, and they're looking at another few lab markers just to rule in or out other conditions that could be contributing to fertility. Those are all really important, and that's great that you've had those done. But that's not enough information for you to understand why you're not ovulating and why you haven't gotten pregnant yet. So what I do is I order this nice full set of comprehensive labs for you. And not only am I looking at your reproductive hormones, but I'm looking at your stress hormones. I'm looking at your thyroid hormones, a comprehensive view of your thyroid hormones, more numbers than your doctor has looked at. If you've been lucky enough to get a thyroid lab ordered and ran for you, I am looking at more than just your main TSH thyroid hormone. I am looking at this whole comprehensive view of what's going on with that thyroid. I am looking at your blood sugar levels, looking at nutrient levels. And so I'm taking this really nice comprehensive view of your labs to understand what is it that's on your labs that's setting you up for irregular cycles. Because there is something. It is not true that your labs are fine right now when you're having irregular cycles and you can't get pregnant. And here's a story. I was working with somebody who she had been trying to get pregnant for about 5 years before working with me. And she had worked with other doctors. They had all told her, no, it's fine. You just need more medication, more medicated cycles. That's the only path forward for you. And she's like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm still having irregular periods. This isn't working. What's going on? So she started working with me. And just like I would do for you, I ordered her labs. When I ordered her labs and looked at them, it was like, oh, yeah, okay, here we go. Yet another person who hasn't had this information found out yet. Because sure enough, her thyroid was not optimal. Okay, her TSH was not in the optimal fertility place. She had elevated thyroid antibodies, not super, super elevated. So I knew, okay, we could drop those down pretty quickly. Her hormones were not set up in a rhythm that primed her body for pregnancy. And so I helped her see this bigger picture of why she was having irregular cycles. This person has so many questions about her body because she hasn't had a doctor who will answer them before. And so we spent a lot of time talking about these labs, why I ordered certain numbers, and why each of these results was showing that she wasn't ovulating. So I got her on a plan to regulate her thyroid. We really worked hard on getting those antibodies down and then getting her TSH to an optimal level. And for her, it took about 6 months, and then she was able to get pregnant naturally. And one key missing piece for her was being able to look at this full comprehensive view of her labs. And by the way, if you want my eyes on your labs and to help you understand what are these missing links in your labs that are showing why you have irregular cycles, you can work with me. And your first step is to book a call with me at drangelapotter.com/PCOS. Just want you to know that I'm here for you. So that's one of the issues, is that doctors aren't looking at the right labs. Another issue is that they aren't interpreting those labs from a fertility perspective. So in that story that I was telling you, you might have caught that this person, her TSH, her main thyroid hormone, was not in optimal levels for fertility. Now, when we looked at her labs together, when I was walking her through the labs and what her results were, her TSH was in normal range for that standard reference range from that lab. And this is so common, but it wasn't in the optimal fertility range, which is different than the standard reference range. So I put on my PCOS fertility glasses when I'm reading through labs. I use the fertility reference range, which is more optimal for fertility. It is more optimal for your health. And so for this person, yeah, her TSH wasn't working optimally to support her ovulation. And so I helped her optimize that TSH level, which then brought her to a place where she was able to get pregnant naturally a few months later. So these labs, we can look at them from the perspective of general health and optimal health. And your previous doctors have been looking at them from general health perspective. And that's not what you're looking for. You're not looking for general health. You are looking for optimal health. You are looking to get your body prepped for baby, which is why you need my eyes on your labs to say, okay, here's what's missing for you. Okay, this lab is not optimal. We've got to work on that. Do you see how that works? So today you have learned, when you're wondering how my approach is different than all these other doctors that you've worked with, well, you learned today how my approach with labs is different. how I am sure to order a full comprehensive lab panel for you, and how I also interpret those labs from a fertility perspective. Both very key points when you're in this place where you want optimal health and you want to get your body prepped for baby. And you learned as a PCOS specialist that I am here to help you when you're ready. It is possible to get regular periods and to ovulate on your own when you have PCOS. I see this all the time in my practice, and women with PCOS are getting pregnant every single day. And you could very well be next. Hold on to that as you go forward today. If you want to support this podcast, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or simply share this episode with your friends. And as a reminder, the information on this podcast is just that. It's information, and it should not replace the medical advice that you are currently getting from your doctor. Thanks so much for being here.